guys, my name is Ryan Hanna, and this is the first episode. I'm real excited about it because I wanted to get it ready. This is the first episode of Ramen Budget Gaming, where gamers like you and me, just ordinary gamers, talk about the world of eSports and the world of competitive gaming. So, I guess to get started here, I'm going to introduce my panel of experts, I'm going to call them. Alright, so let's start off here. Coley, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Cully Galloway. I'm a senior in unemployment at Kansas State University, creative writing. And my gamer tag is currently WC Swift. And if you have a suggestion, give me a suggestion, because that's subject to change. Thanks for having me on, Ryan.
Okay, no problem. Alright, Connor.
Hi, I'm
Introduce
Connor
yourself.
Maholovich. I am also majoring in unemployment, like my good friend Coley. And my gamer tag is Galaxy Plague. And
Ooh.
yeah, thanks for having me on.
Alright. Brendan?
Hey guys, I'm Brendan Russell. I am majoring in I don't know what right now.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Tag is Galaxy Anthem. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Alright, no problem. Well, I guess let's just dive into today's talk. So we're going to be talking about just the world of esports in general. What is esports? So who, like, give me a good... Esports is life. So, like, give me a good explanation, I guess.
It is competitive gaming at its finest, whether it be it can be speedrunning, it can be competitive Call of Duty, it can be competitive Counter-Strike, it can be MOBAs, it can be RTSs, it can be anything.
So for the world out there that doesn't know some of the acronyms you might have thrown out, like MOBA, explain what that means.
Dude, I don't even know.
What was that?
I just use it.
Hey guys, I got this.
Yeah.
I know what MOBA means. Multiplayer online battle arena. MOBA.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Real-time strategy.
I'm like, that's just a game that lame people play.
lame people.
Right, it's like a watered-down version of an RTS.
Exactly.
They aren't fast enough to play an RTS, so they play League of Legends.
Yeah,
Yep.
really.
Alright.
Handle
They can't handle it.
too many units.
So esports is competitive gaming, like you said. It involves real-time strategy, RTS games like StarCraft. That's a really big one.
Warcraft 3.
StarCraft,
yeah,
is-
3.
Even though that's
StarCraft.
kind of over.
What do you got, Brennan? What are the other RTSs?
Let's see, there's
That's about it
there's
for I can't
StarCraft,
think of any. Too
Warcraft
many
3.
for competitive. Well,
What
that are
else is there?
current.
Yeah.
Warcraft 3 is still played occasionally. StarCraft 1 it still has a couple tournaments going on. They had like the last
true.
StarCraft 1 tournament
Okay,
and it was
so
like
Blizzard.
total
so
crap.
Blizzard owns the market.
Yes,
for
Blizzard
technical market.
has. Yes.
The RTS market.
They've owned the RTS market.
Right.
I wish
So,
Command and Conquer could be competitive. I'd play the crap out of it.
It used to be, but StarCraft 2 came along and saved Apollo from a long and successful career as the best Command and Conquer player in the world.
Okay, so those are RTSs. So let's move on. So we done RTSs, first-person shooters. So I think
Oh,
Obviously.
everybody knows about Call of Duty. Call of Duty
Halo.
Ghost just
Everyone
came
knows
out.
about Halo.
Halo came out.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike is on it's a computer-based game, right?
the
Yes.
first-person shooter.
Yes.
So what are some other ones? So we listed off Call of Duty, Halo,
What
Counter-Strike.
was that arena one? That really fast-paced one that was getting
Ooh,
popular.
Shoot Mania.
Shootmania. Yeah.
Shoot Mania, was it?
Yeah, I would even
Oh,
say,
man.
I would go so far as to say maybe PlanetSide 2.
PlanetSide.
Oh, is
in
it
there. They're working on
PlanetSide 2 up and coming?
That's
They're
a
working
first-person
on
shooter, but
having
it also
some, like,
has.
smaller arena-style combat that they can market for like things like MLG,
Yeah.
that's
which
cool.
is Major League Gaming,
Oh yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a professional.
Oh,
That's something we should talk about.
we will
Gaming.
definitely get into that. So let's move on to the other gaming. So we've
Speedrunning.
talked about
Oh.
RTSs, first-person shooters, and now MOBAs. So MOBA is an example of League of Legends. I think that's probably the biggest one that
And
everybody.
Dota 2.
Dota 2, yeah.
And then
Dota 2.
Blizzard's making their appearance with Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah,
And
Heroes
then
of the Storm's coming out. I'm
Marvel-
excited for that.
Or no, not DC. DC.
Yeah, DC.
What's it called?
No.
Universe is an MMO.
This is it.
DC.
Yeah.
Some DC one that's a You know, they had a tournament and it looked pretty interesting. It looked equally
have-
as interesting as any other MOBA.
Might have to look that up.
Another MOBA is Guardians of Middle Earth, but that actually, I mean, that one's a hack.
Oh, I love Guardians of
Yeah.
Middle Earth. Guardians is great.
Okay. Guardians of Middle Earth. I loved it. There were issues, a lot of them. Its connection was the main one. Its matchmaking was terrible.
Matchmaking
And
is still
then
terrible.
You buy the season pass, which entitled you to all the DLC. You lose it after a season, which I guess
No, I
makes
still
sense 'cause it's.
have it
No.
actually. I just played it a week ago.
And you
Is
have
that
all the
the
characters. You
season?
got every
Yeah.
DLC?
I have all the characters. He's gone. He's mad. We're leaving.
I was fed back. I don't know if you could see that, but I actually threw my chair onto my bed. I was fed Folsom from it.
Yeah. I know,
This is what
Someone
right?
else-
Sad man. I was gonna take a drink
Oh,
from
he's-
a gallon-sized.
Oh, let's see that manly cup. Look at this manly cup. Oh man. Back up and
Oh,
put it.
man.
Yeah.
Bigger than my head, people.
Only a man can drink from that. Okay, so we talked about kind of those are pretty much the three main esports competitive games. Would you say? Like,
Yeah, I would say
Yes.
one other you could maybe. One sec, Connor. I would say one other genre that you could maybe throw in there because it does have a significant
Fighters.
world championship. Yep. Oh yeah, fighters. Duh.
Oh.
okay,
that-
fighters. Yeah, we missed
I
that.
was gonna say at Ooh, I've got another one. At BlizzCon every year, there's a World of Warcraft like arena tournament.
Oh, like a.
And that's really big, and it's got a significant amount of prize pool to it. So I'd say like MMO, PvP, like arena combat, but it's really only existent in World of Warcraft. Hearthstone,
Oh.
which is
Oh yeah.
a card game, but it's a video game, so that.
Yeah.
There.
Isn't that still in the beta though? Like,
Yeah.
they're still coming out,
already
but
had a tournament.
have they had a tournament for it? Wow.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
They had Artosis one.
Of course. I've heard he's kind of good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's aight.
And then there's the fighters, which is I think fighters are probably the most interesting. It's kind of the most interesting niche of competitive gaming.
Fighters
Yeah.
take that whole like or freaking the street club, what is it called? Fight Club. They take like the whole idea of Fight Club like literally to fighters, so they don't
Yeah.
talk about it. Like they're like their own
Yeah.
little
Yeah, they don't
community.
want like that kind of mainstream exposure of the other sports.
Yeah, they're just
they want
kinda
to be very self-contained.
Off in the corner.
Like, they try to run themselves, which is cool. But the thing that interests me most about it is like everyone who plays fighters plays like every fighter, except for like Super Smash Brothers, because that's kind of different. Like,
Yeah.
if you play
Dude,
Street
Super
Fighter,
Smash
that means
Bros.
you also play Soul Calibur, and if you play that, you
Is
also
Tekken a
play.
thing still?
I don't think they play competitive
No.
Tekken.
Huh.
It's like Street Fighter, it's
Marvel.
Marvel, the Marvel one,
Oh yeah.
and
And
Soul
like-
Calibur.
Soul Calibur.
The only
And then
guy I
Super
know
Smash
by name
Brothers.
off the top of my head is like Justin Wong. I know he is famous for getting second.
Alright. So we've gone across, there's a lot of fighter games that if you play a fighter game, you play all the fighter games, and
You play
don't you
like
worry.
Yeah.
your little joystick and everything.
So I have my laptop up here. I want to lay down some facts with you guys.
Oh
You
man.
know that the earliest
Knowledge.
the earliest known video game competition took place on October 19th, 1972.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wait, let's
Yeah, I
wait,
know.
Wait, let's guess what it is. Let's guess what it is.
All right, it was
Is
at Stanford University. So guess what it was?
Pong.
No,
Tetris?
no.
Pac-Man.
Think of kind of a space shooter, I guess.
Asteroids.
Galaga? Galaga?
You guys are never gonna guess this.
What
Just
is
tell
it?
us.
Space. It's called Space War. Never heard of it. Yeah.
Nope.
Hey guys, I'm gonna become a
Never heard of it.
Space War player.
So like, and
I'm
they had.
retiring my Call of Duty joystick.
I guess it's kind of like Space Invaders. So these students were invited to Intergalactic Space War Olympics. That's what they called it.
That's
And
awesome.
the grand prize. Listen, the grand prize was a year subscription to Rolling Stone. Yeah, isn't that like? So that's-
hilarious.
Think about that. From when
Compared to what we have today.
esports technically like. Esports, I guess the name esports went online
Started.
1990. It was started in
1990.
1990.
with Doom 2 and all that jazz.
And then that went to 1999, and then the rise of the global tournaments started 2000, and then it just went like the WCS, the GSL, like there's
not WC.
World
Cyber Games would have been a big one. Was huge for Brood Wars.
WCS is recent though. It's recent.
WCS
It's recent, yeah.
Yeah.
Still counts.
So think of just where they started. They started at Stanford University.
With a year's subscription to Rolling Stone.
With the grand prize winner was a year's subscription to Rolling Stone.
Second place
if
get
you
like
tried to give that, if you tried to give that to a guy who won an international gaming tournament now, he'd be, what the hell is Rolling Stone?
What the heck's Rolling Stone?
Is the thing. He would say it in Korean and it would be translated for us on the main stage. Faker would have no idea what you're talking about.
So I guess the Space Invader Championship was held by Atari. So
Well, yeah.
it was in 1981. It was the earliest large-scale gaming competition. It attracted more than 10,000 participants across the United States.
Wow, that's actually really impressive.
Like that.
Really impressive.
That's pretty impressive in 1981, and gaming's already
like 9 people in a basement.
Yeah, like they're already getting 10,000 people at this, even though the grand prize was a year subscription to Rolling Stone.
I mean,
But
people really like Rolling Stone.
Yeah, you guys understand.
Is
Rolling Stone was high up there.
pretty good.
I don't know if you guys have taken history of rock and roll, but that would have been a really.
Oh man.
So that's an interesting thing. And then like now you've got things like COD Champs, which is $1 million prize pool,
The
and
Dota 2
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
just from where the
something million.
prize pool was, and it just so much bigger now. Like
Oh yeah.
winning millions of dollars for these.
I think the question I'm asked the most, which is somewhat relevant to what we're talking about
Yeah.
like esports and like when you talk about like if you bring up the topic, is people are like, can you really make a living doing this? Like, is this actually a job, or is this just like a bunch of people that have a hobby of doing it, stuff like that? And I think people underestimate like
How much you can make.
Yeah, I mean like
Well,
obviously.
Well, if you put yourself to it and actually spend the time to make videos and put yourself out there and get yourself on YouTube, Twitch, and start to make a good team, then yes, you can make a legitimate living off of it.
Depends
But
on the title of the game you're playing, kind of the community, your situation, your team is a big deal. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you see it all the time in Call of Duty. Optic makes careers. Like,
Yeah.
how many followers did Ricky have? 7?
like nothing.
70
He's up to
followers?
70K now.
Like, yeah, now he's like crazy.
No, Ricky's 130K. He's above 100K.
Oh, wow.
As soon as you join Optic Gaming, you just
So that's another thing too. So I mean, there's gamers, there's people who stream games, but there's also the Major League Gaming and the different like Optic and all these gaming teams.
Teams
organization.
specifically for each game,
And
some span more than one game.
Right.
Yeah.
Some are like full-on organizations, kind of like sports as well.
Yeah.
Like
You've
Complexity.
got SK Telecom, you've got Complexity, but they only really have Call of Duty, if we're honest.
They won the Counter Strike.
Yeah, they're good at counter. So they've got shooters, but you've got like.
Doesn't
EG.
Curse have StarCraft, COD, and League?
Does Curse have StarCraft?
I thought they had.
I know CLG wanted to get a StarCraft team once the WCS was announced, but that didn't happen. But anywho, yeah, you've got these massive organizations, and some of them are massive. You look at a team like SK Telecom in Korea, and that SK Telecom is essentially like Korea's Time Warner Cable, and they sponsor an eSports organization. There's Incredible Miracles. Who are they sponsored by? Oh, a little company called LG. I don't know. They make some things.
they make a little bit of money. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's Samsung Con. Samsung sponsors a team. Like there are legitimate organizations putting in a lot of money to sponsor.
Intel sponsors quite a bit of stuff, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And other big
They don't have an
organizations.
actual team or anything, but they really they put a lot of money into the industry.
So
Red Bull definitely helps.
So that's another thing too. I mean, without all these sponsors, these gaming teams wouldn't get anywhere. And I mean, like they have their gaming houses where they practice. They have these big competitions where they go. And I mean, some of these people are our age and younger. Like what Optic Nate Shots is like 18 or
Nate
something?
Shot's-
No,
Nate
Shot's
Shot's
20 something.
Oh, is he 20? I don't.
Mario.
Life is. Oh,
Let's talk about
Mario.
Mario Prime.
Mario
Well,
Prime.
what team is Mario on now? I just watched this. Mario is on. He's on Jin Air.
Something weird.
Yeah, Mario's on Jin Air now. He's 15 years old, and he's already won a GSL,
Which is a lot of
Damn.
money. But
which is
the
crazy.
how I see like the careers in each sports person is like you've got your desk job, your day-to-day job, you're playing the game you play, you're making YouTube videos, you're streaming, you're staying up late doing tournaments and stuff, like the little tournaments, just online stuff.
Yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
your bonus, your Christmas bonus is when you win, you know, you get top 3 at that event, get your big old bonus. Like that's what you worked hard for, and if you work hard enough, you get that bonus.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah, I mean, like, some teams live, like, Complexity, it kind of seems like they almost live tournament to tournament. Like, they have
Oh, yeah.
to. And I think that's part of their motivation is like, man, I need to make this money because I kind of need to eat.
Yeah.
They
like,
definitely
oh,
do
they're
not
like,
have
oh,
the
we got
presence
left.
that
Well,
Optic has.
Yeah, like, they
So
often
there's
like, oh, we
so
got
there's
left.
definitely like
That's making
incentive to win.
$100,000 a year.
So yeah, it's like if you win, that pays your bills pretty much. Like winning
Yeah.
is big. Winning, you need to win to be on one of these top teams and have the top team strive and like.
Not if you're Optic Gaming.
Yeah, okay, if you're Optic Gaming and you have all these huge sponsors and stuff, but some of the teams that are smaller, like
these amateur
They
teams that come
go-
out of nowhere and stuff, they are the ones that are like getting known from the tournaments and stuff.
oh yeah. So
Like,
like if you go to MLG Dallas and you're some unknown team that wins it, people are gonna look at you.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, oh, they can actually do something.
It was like at the most recent COD event, E-Girls Slayers came in, like they made a good team, but they were just kind of like, hey, we're just gonna do this for fun. It was a caster, someone who casts,
Yeah.
and like
Revan.
3
Well,
like
Revan, yeah.
Revan's been a pro. Revan was a pro. In Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 3, he was the first guy to beat Optic Gaming at a tournament. He basically did it single-handedly. Like, he backpacked so hard. He carried his team, and he beat Optic, and they were all super sad about it. But so, I mean, Revan's good. But, yeah. I mean, that was a pickup team. They formed it, like, that day. Everybody, including myself, thought it was an all-girls team. It's E-Girls Slayers, and then I was like, oh, okay, he means, like, lady killers. But
Yeah.
Ha!
nerdy.
Play on words. It's so funny.
Yes.
but
So like getting into that, now we're getting into MLG and kind of like what is MLG? When did it start? So I'm gonna throw out a few facts here, blow your
Oh,
minds.
the
Snap.
MLG facts.
So MLG was founded in 2002. So it's been around. It's now 2014, still around. It's Major
12
League
years old.
Gaming, 12 years old. I mean,
I could just give my speech. that I
Yeah.
prepared.
oh, yeah, do you have it?
Quite a few.
Yeah, I wrote a speech on this.
So the
Yeah.
so the MLG Pro Circuit, it says the roster includes StarCraft 2, pretty big
Gosh, I
name.
hope it includes that again.
Yeah, seriously.
Has League of Legends, which are both for the PC. Mortal Kombat, so these are your fighters now.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, King of Fighters, and that's for the PlayStation. So that's also another thing too. Like some of these
Different
games
consoles.
on
Yeah.
different consoles, like you could be really good. You could be like a really good player of COD on PlayStation.
PS3, but you can't do shit with it. or
But you
get that
can't
with
Yeah.
you can't do anything with that because there's no like there might be some smaller tournament, but
Yeah. I mean,
MLG is not gonna have that.
Black
Exactly.
Ops 1 was on the PlayStation 3.
Was that?
Yeah. Black Ops 1 was played on the PlayStation 3 for Major League Gaming, and everybody hated it.
Oh, it's like,
But all the pros had to buy a PS3.
so that's also another thing. Just people hate it. I mean, they're not gonna have it again.
People only hated it because like the controller is so bad.
Fact.
Oh no! Now we're bagging on Sony. I don't think they'll like that.
Yeah, but so are you? I mean, there have been a ton of titles throughout MLG's history. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. X, Complexity, like he made his name in Rainbow Six. Who the frick plays
Yeah.
Rainbow?
that game.
When was the last
That
Rainbow
game
Six
is
game
fun.
anybody ever played?
Here's a couple more titles I'm gonna lay out.
Rainbow Six? Yeah, I play Rainbow Six.
No, dude. So I'm gonna lay out a few more titles. So MLG Super Smash Brothers, pretty popular game.
Mm,
Everybody loves Super Smash Brothers, from
Yeah.
what I've heard. Maybe someone hates it out there.
you
I
said
don't know.
Halo?
Not yet.
You
I'm
said
getting
Halo.
there. Halo.
Okay, sorry.
Halo
Yeah.
Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Combat Evolved.
I played
That
Halo 1.
We're
for
talking
MLB.
OG Halo
So that-
here.
So, and then Halo 2, Tekken 5, Gears of War, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Vegas, Shadowrun, Tom Clancy's.
Shadowrun. Shadowrun.
Shadowrun.
That'd be nuts.
Yep.
That game is sick.
Then they had Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Call of Duty 4, and Gears of War 4. So those are kind of, and then
Gears
they've
of War
also
4.
added.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Call of Duty 4, maybe. I'm
And
sorry,
not Gears of War 4.
and Gears of War 2.
That's not even a game yet.
Yeah.
I thought you said Gears of War 2.
I thought I said that. And then there's also the ones. So now they have Call of Duty Ghosts. They've had Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1,
Modern Warfare 3.
Modern Warfare 3. So there's a lot of other gaming titles that haven't been listed here.
Back up. No Modern Warfare 3.
No Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah. 'Cause
No,
Optic
no,
made
it
it
wasn't on the MLT circuit. They had one shooter that year. It was Halo Reach, and they ended up kicking the Reach off the circuit as well. Shooters were not pulling any numbers for them.
Ah.
Yeah, they didn't have LAN lobbies for Modern Warfare 3,
Oh, yeah.
so it couldn't be done in MLG.
And then Black Ops 2, the savior.
And then Black
came
Ops 2
in.
totally revolved.
It's the saver. So that's kind of good. You know a little bit more than I do, and that's good. That's why you're my panel of experts.
No
here.
life.
No lie. I know everything.
Loser.
So a little bit more on. Oh, I didn't know this. The Korean eSports Association. They partnered with MLG. I didn't know that, and they partnered in 2012.
That's weird.
So
No,
that's
yeah.
To
That's
do
yeah.
what?
so that's
Sell
kind of a
those
do thing.
slaves that are the StarCraft.
So let's read the thing here. It says this agreement allows MLG exclusive access to K-Spa's StarCraft Brood War players.
Yep,
Oh,
there we go.
Flash.
So there you go.
Like
It's
EPL,
the
which is
Brood
the
Wars.
English Premier League for you people who are video gamers. Exclusively. It's like when EPL loans out players, in their off season. It's kind of the same thing as that. Like Kespo will loan out players to MLG, which just sounds like a terrible thing.
Yeah.
MLG reach down into the dark sack that is Kespa and pulled apart Jaedong and Flash, battling each other. And you're like, you will play for us, monkeys.
Oh my. So that's another thing we could talk about, kind of what Coley was talking about, kind of how does esports compare to normal sports like soccer or football? So because we're hearing about now kind of a lot of team changes are going on. There are lots of controversy over the team changes.
Crazy.
And so kind of in the
Let's
NFL.
not get into that quite yet.
No, let's get
Okay.
into it now.
That's a
I-
whole new episode. By
Like,
Let's-
the problem is, like,
dig in.
I couldn't, like, the only way I explained it to Savannah, like, I tried to put it into words to Savannah, and it was like, if Batman had a COD team, the Joker joined it. That's how I.
So that was that bad. Enemies have
That's
joined.
really good.
yeah.
So that's
Oh my god.
so again, like going on the thought of how is it like normal, like physical contact sports. Like if you hear in football, they signed a 4-year contract and they have to stay with them unless they break the contract for millions of dollars.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
There's basically no contracts in COD.
Well, that's not exactly
Well, I mean-
true. Depending on the team, like there are contracts for like teams some bigger organizations like Envy and Optic. The thing is,
Yeah.
there's so little money in it, right?
They don't
like, in those
care.
contracts.
They can just leave.
No, they just break it. It's fine. And the thing is, the difference between a football team and you got a contract and that sucks, you're stuck there. And Call of Duty is there's not an overriding league like the NFL that has control over everything competitive Call of Duty related. I mean, yeah, there's Major League Gaming, but that's just one circuit. Like we just saw this past weekend. There was UMG, which is UMAD Gear. And which is just the weirdest name for an organization, but UMG it is. And so, I mean, I think it makes those waters a little trickier to navigate.
Okay.
There's not like one overriding body that kind of sanctions this and like comes up with rules that everyone has to abide by. And then also, if you have a professional football player, say your free safety doesn't like your team, that's cool. Bring in another free safety.
Yeah.
He can ride the bench, and no one has to talk to him. In Call of Duty, if you don't like your team, you are one of 4
you're
people.
screwed.
That that means 25% of your team hates you and is not performing for you. Like, so it's a much bigger deal.
Okay, so that gets on to another question. So should it be more strict? Should they have these contracts worth more money and you stay with your team longer and hopefully they win a lot of championships and everything's great? Or should it stay this kind of loose leaf, like if someone doesn't like you, like if one person is not liked out of the group of four, that's 75% of people that do not like you and want you out.
Right.
So should it change?
Like what Coley said, how it's like, if you're football, if he doesn't, if it's like, so what you mentioned, but in COD, it's like, if he's bound to the contract, it's like, he can't do anything about it, and then you just have a shitty team for a long time.
I would say, if you look at a different title like StarCraft, I think it is much more akin to kind of the others, normal traditional sports, because like you look at MC, who just tweeted had the best tweet ever when he was announcing that he was leaving his team, but he was on SK for like how many years? Like forever, like
435, I think.
Yeah, for like at least 2 more. Like at least since the beginning of StarCraft 2. Was he on that team in Brood Wars?
I didn't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't follow any.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, he was there for a long time, and people are on their StarCraft teams, I think, much more kind of devoutly. I mean, some switches happen, but it's really big news. Like when someone switches in Idra left, was kicked from the like that was a big deal. That doesn't. I mean, Call of Duty teams go in and they're like, "Oh, we didn't win. F practice."
Yeah. Or let's take the last race, like Complexity. We did win. Drop player, like or.
Yeah, but I mean, that was
like
last
like.
And then the other thing I would say about this is if more teams continue to get team houses, I think that will maybe not, Optics proving this theory wrong, would lead. That should, in my mind, theoretically lead to less team switches, because if you have to commit to packing up, moving across the country, moving into this house, that should, I think, like kind of settle the waters a little bit.
Yeah, and again, if you have this gaming house, I mean, there's 4 people on a team. If we're talking about COD, 4 people on a team. I mean, there has to be subs, like if one person's sick or something, or if they're not playing the WoD. Do you think there should be like a lot more subs? So you have your 4-man roster, and then you have another 4-man roster as kind of your bench players.
Like your alternates?
Like your alternates.
Team Curse has that sort of thing.
They have like Curse Las Vegas and Curse.
They don't have alternates. They just have 2 different teams, I guess. Like Optic and Black Ops 1 had this. They had Optic Gaming, they had Optic Nation. And it was kind of like a varsity, junior varsity situation. So the Optic Gaming was the premier team, and Optic Nation was the backup team, and it was Nadeshot's team.
Okay.
And it was kind of weird because one event like Nation placed better than Gaming. So it's weird. I don't think the scene's developed enough to like where they can do that. It's not like a major league, minor league kind of thing. What teams right now do, if they're just sick, they just go and draw from another team, or like free agents. They just get a pickup player, like a random person.
Yeah, and
then they win a game battles tournament and they drop somebody to make room for them.
Yeah, so like I'm saying, like normal sports teams, like you have 11v11. So let's take soccer. I think this would be a good example for you, soccer. So you have 11v11, and you're playing, and it's just not working out for you. So you take out one of your midfielder players and put in another guy who has a different skill set. Like let's say he's a better passer than the other guy. And then you started controlling the midfield, and then you win the game because you score, because you control. And that was because of the substitute that you made. So do you think gaming, like that, it should be if one player is not doing well, or if another player he thinks would do better in his place, do you think a gaming coach could sub him out, and then maybe that could be
roster
a thing?
Changes are subbing for the most part.
Basically,
like if this person's doing bad, you drop him. Like you don't sub him, you drop him and you replace him.
Yeah,
so that's just dropping from the whole team, though.
Because there's enough tournaments in a year that you can just drop a player, get a new player, test how he works in like a minor tournament, try it again.
I think that kind of system would work in a game that isn't Call of Duty. It would work, I think, in something like League of Legends, where you have these distinct very defined roles, like because the characters do different things. In Call of Duty, I mean people assign themselves roles, but that's just it. Like they're self-determined roles. It's like, I'm an objective player. I go and I capture flags. Well, no one does that anymore. I go and I score goals.
I shoot people with my gun and we win the game.
Right, exactly. That's really what it boils down to. Is like anyone can do anything in Call of Duty at any given moment.
Okay, so there's not like a specific skill. So there's not just a skill set. Like no.
Yeah.
I mean, some people run ARs and some people run subs, but I mean you can switch that because everybody is a well-rounded player, I guess you could say, and can do that.
Everyone knows how to take their gun and point it at the enemy and shoot.
Yeah. Okay, so
they have the whole like anchor rolling thing, which is pretty important. Like that dictated the pace of the game for the most part.
Yeah, I would say Black Ops 2 was a little more. I mean, it was much more role dependent. Like you had a job and you kind of did it, and I liked it.
Great. Coley felt needed in that game.
Yeah, I felt like I was, I was terrible, and I was, but I felt valuable.
There you go. So back to the question of the substitute. So let's talk about League of Legends, and you're playing for a team. So it's like SK Telecom. You're on that team. So is it kind of you want your team to win, but if you're on the bench, that kind of feels sad. Like, oh, your team won, but you weren't playing, and that's kind of with every sport really. Exactly. But I mean, if we go to COD and you see all these people dropping and like. It's almost like they don't care about the team they're playing for. They only care about themselves doing well and them being noticed by other sponsors, so then they get sponsored and they get more money for it. So do you think it should change to like you can join a team and that like you want to win for that team and you want to make that team money?
I think that would be good for the industry. Call of Duty competitives will grow the most if people stick with teams and form a brand. Like really grow an organization.
Nadeshot is.
Nadeshot has planted himself.
Because Nadeshot is Optic Nadeshot. He is not just Nadeshot. He is Optic Nadeshot. I mean, even before he was on the competitive team, he was Optic Nadeshot. And like Envious as well. They're not nearly as big as Optic, but they're the second biggest organization. Complexity is getting this way now as well. Impact was this way until they had a whole kind of problems in Black Ops. Like people are nervous. Or if you ask me like who's on Curse in New York right now,
you don't know.
I have no clue.
Yellfire, I think, but maybe he left. So I think brand loyalty and like really growing it, I think, is the way to go for the industry to really grow because. People want to support teams. I mean, I like players, but I want to support a team.
So it's almost like EPL. Like you have your EPL team, you root for that team.
Right.
When players come in, you're like, oh yeah, that player's gonna be great. Or you want some player to leave, and you're like, oh, get rid of him, like, or fire the manager. Like Tottenham's manager just got sacked, and I was really happy about it because I didn't like him. Like. So do you think that would help the gaming industry and the different teams if they had players?
I think it would grow a lot.
Yeah, I
think it would help.
And to go off how you said like teams like they go on a team because they want to win for that team, they want to make that team money. That's like exactly what happened yesterday. Is like all these good players who like clash, like they are known as like clashing personalities. Like always saying, join the team, and they all just said like, this is for the win. Like we're trying to prove something here. We are going to win. We are going to be a good team, and we're just gonna win. Like they're all like, everyone's like, what?
Well, they wanted to make it work. Parasite said he wants to make a point that they can work together and
they can be
like
a
you said,
team.
win.
And
make
in
a
2 weeks, if they haven't murdered each other, we all might just believe them.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like that how these people banded together that do not like each other at all. Like just
said,
absolutely at all, and they banded together and won.
Batman's team.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
That's a good analogy. So I kind of like that. You're winning for your team. So I guess it is kind of getting there. I mean, Optic, we've said, is pretty much there. Like Optic Nadeshot, he's not gonna leave. Hopefully he doesn't leave.
If he leaves, Optic goes with him.
Optic goes with him. So we kind of want it to go because that would help the industry grow a lot.
But then you have the problem of like people like there's, like Big Timer and Rambo who like they are pretty like Big Timer has been Optic for quite a while. I mean people I mean after say
Yeah.
and like Rambo was the person I thought of when I thought of Envy. It's like Rambo is like the person.
Oh,
And like
Exactly.
they both well Optic or Big Timer Proofy, yeah, but Big Timer retired, Rambo retired, not really. He says he's taking a break, but like they both go to coaching, so it's like you
His
have these
break
people
is
that
called
solidified
Call of
themselves.
And even
Uh-huh.
Big Timer said that he may
Yeah.
come back.
Their break is called Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm calling
Yeah.
it. Black
Exactly.
Ops,
Calling
when
it.
the new Treyarch title comes out,
Next
Black Ops
one.
3 or whatever it is. Rambo at least will come out of retirement.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean there was a weird situation in Modern Warfare 3, like towards the beginning, and I know none of you followed the competitive scene at this time, but Optic left Optic.
Yeah, didn't they join Axiom?
Apex.
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 Who's Apex?
Where'd I get Axiom?
Nobody now. Axiom Acer, Axiom, the team
COD team?
by Total Biscuit's wife. Yeah, but they left Optic because they weren't getting like the support they needed, and it was Rambo, Merc, Big Timer, and Scumpy, and they joined Apex. And then Apex kind of started having some problems, and Hex approached them again, was like, "We need you back." And
Okay, so let's move on. We kind of gone off on our Call of Duty tangent, so let's bring it back to the original topic of esports and what is esports and kind of StarCraft League. So let's kind of talk about the streaming because we've talked about the Major League Gaming and we've talked about all the tournaments that they do, but I mean, what do you do on your off time? How do you chill? How do you just kind of have fun doing it?
YouTube videos.
Stream and make YouTube videos.
Is Nate Shot's life, basically.
He makes about
Call of Duty.
No. Just an example of like this is what like like it could be anyone. I mean, StarCraft players don't YouTube as much; they mostly stream. Like a COD player, like Nate Shot makes around 30,000 a month from YouTube alone. Like
10,000
that is
a month.
I thought it was 30.
No,
What did you say? Was
10,000 a month.
Is it 10,000?
I thought it was 30.
I could see it. Well, no, it's probably closer to 10 because I know he makes a little over $6,000 off YouTube, or six figures rather, off YouTube a year.
Yeah.
So
That's like $6,000. That sucks.
Okay, so like what would you use to stream? There's Twitch. Is that the
It's Twitch.
Or,
Twitch, the only thing you use.
Twitch is
or
the only thing?
MLG puts you on their channel.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also Twitch.
And then there's a website.
Twitch.
There's one more. It's like
If you wanna branch out,
Twitch.tv or something.
There is another site that you can use. It's called Justin TV.
Ha.
They're partnered with the company called Twitch.
Okay. So I'm gonna lay down another fact for you guys. If that's okay. I kind of like facts. It's about DreamHack winner 2011.
Oh hey, DreamHack.
And so yeah, we should talk about DreamHack. Apparently that's kind of a big thing.
It is a big thing.
And so DreamHack winner 2011 reached 1.7 million viewers.
That
is a lot.
Did you check out MLG's viewers?
Yeah, have you looked at any more recent numbers where
Well, I'm gonna look that up right now actually. But I mean, Twitch is by far the most popular streaming for games. So I mean, I know Coley is streamed. Brendan and I have streamed before PlanetSide. Just check it out. It's kind of cool.
Right now.
you're streaming right
Hey,
We are
guess
streaming
what
right
Ryan's
now.
using for streaming.
I am using Twitch. That's crazy.
Hey.
Kind of informing all of you ordinary gamers, if you don't know about Twitch, go to Twitch. It's awesome. You can watch all your favorite players. Twitch.tv.
Yeah,
Yep. You could probably Google it and you'd find it. Easy. I love Google. It's great. But you can watch all your favorite games. You can watch League of Legends, StarCraft, Call of Duty. No one. I don't know. League of Legends has a lot of viewers all the time.
A seriously unfortunate percentage of the population would say that their favorite game is League of Legends.
And we pity those people.
Yes.
No, I don't pity them. They have just as much right to. I mean, their game is just as competitive. I have fun watching League. I wouldn't say. I mean, I've watched League streams from time to time.
So who are some of your favorite streamers on Twitch?
Sigglemik.
Big timer. Oh,
What-
Sigglemik's pretty awesome.
What does Sigglemik play?
He's a speedrunner. He speedruns Super Mario 64.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And
Pretty
wow.
crazy.
He's the Chinese used to be the best at it, and then he came along and was like, nope.
Stole it back for the white people.
Yep. And then Big Timer, yeah. The Muslim
Big
is a
T.
popular streamer.
Day 9.
Day 9.
Day
for
9,
sure.
big streamer. Day 9 does
Yeah,
StarCraft for the people who don't know.
Coming back real quickly to your question of what do they do, esports people, what do they do in their off time? I've heard Day 9 talk about it enough to know that there's no such thing as off time, unless you live in the Optic House and then all you have is off time.
Minecraft.
So there's no like off season of gaming. It just goes on 24/7.
24/7.
It's just all the time.
StarCraft, if you look at, like, StarCraft's kind of in an off season right now, but it's not like the players are doing any less work. There's just not a whole lot of tournaments. Like Day 9, he puts in 80-hour weeks. Like he works 70 to 80-hour weeks every single week, and he doesn't take breaks. He doesn't take vacations. His vacation is to travel to do esports things, and that's his life. And he talks about how much he loves it, and man, he works 80-hour weeks.
Like,
and if you're on a
what
pro,
day
if you are a Kespa StarCraft player, you were in your sweatshop playing StarCraft. Like, that's it.
Until your hand bleed.
Yeah.
You talk about like they have to put like sandbags on their wrists to help their APM and
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's just nuts.
But
So
Day 9, what is he like daily? Like
He's almost to
700
700.
dailies. Like that's crazy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that
That's
is
like
awesome.
a daily every day for 2 years.
So another fact here about kind of the online viewership and the views it's now getting. 2012 MLG, it had a record-breaking more than 11.7 million viewers turned to watch the 2012 MLG Pro Circuit Championships online. And
That's cute.
11.7 million people. I mean, big games like NBA and stuff and NFL. I know the NBA championship got like 26 million viewers. I mean,
And
that's a
been around
lot.
for a lot longer.
NBA has been around for a lot longer. It's been around.
Can you find, or I'll look for it as well, the numbers for the last year, 2013's League of Legends World Championship? It's absurd.
What about
I
the
know
Dota 2 international one?
The International 3 was ridiculous.
League of Legends ended up beating it. I know the world the world champion All-Star game or whatever it was, the World All-Star match for League of Legends, it had 18 million viewers over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the freaking pregame show was weird for that, but
Oh,
That was the World Championship. Yeah, League of Legends World Championship had a terrible pregame.
that was disgusting.
that was weird. The but
So I just found it right here. The League of Legends viewership. It said 32 million people. 32 million people. That's more than the NBA championship that just happened. Watching League of Legends, watching an eSport game. So absolutely, eSports is growing. It from starting in the 1980s, from the 1980s Rolling Stone magazine to now 2014, 2013.
What was the grand prize for that tournament?
I can look it up here.
I want to say it was like 600,000 or something for the team.
So
I don't know.
So again, a big prize pool. But
Yeah, like going from bringing Rolling Stone magazine to
going from Rolling Stone magazine to 10,000 people in Stanford College to a huge world championship broadcast, huge viewership.
They had an arena like
They had-
dedicated.
It was
Yeah.
the Staples Center.
It was the Staples
Yeah.
Center in LA, and they sold it out.
Sold it out.
So they sold out the Staples Center, which is a good
It's live.
venue.
Like, how many people there are
Yeah.
live?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's live.
That was
So
the prize pool.
oh yeah.
It was 2,050,000.
So
For
2,050,000
That's the
dollars
prize pool. What's the
Yeah.
grand
to
prize?
play video games. That's
The
insane.
first
That's
place
crazy.
team received $1 million.
Yep.
That
That is
The breakdown is this: first place was 1 million, second place was 250,000, third and fourth was 150,000, fifth through eighth was 75, ninth through 10th was 45, 11th through 12th was 30,000, and 13th through 14th was 25,000.
so it's almost like golf.
Dip
You lose, you get
first to
money.
second. Yeah,
Yeah.
first to second place. That dip there is nuts.
Well, yeah.
Who's
I mean, it's a
frickin'
grand prize.
So that's just like the huge incentive the grand
Yeah.
prize.
Yeah.
Oh, $1 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's nuts from where it was before Rolling Stone magazine to $1 million.
Yeah.
What? And to
Hey,
32
Rolling Stone pretty
million?
good. Yeah,
It's
people
pretty
watching.
good.
It's a pretty good magazine, but I mean, you only had 10,000 people watching you that time. I don't know how much pressure.
This is gonna go
There's
on the internet,
32.
Rolling Stones is gonna just like attack you.
They're gonna hate me.
Listen,
Everybody's gonna hate me. They're gonna see it and they're like, "Oh my god."
What'd you say? What'd you say about our magazine?
I said it was great. It was
They're
a
gonna
great
grind
magazine.
you, Ryan.
people still. Do you know how many subscribers we have?
Oh, I bet they have millions and millions. Millions.
We got like 17 subscribers last month.
But I mean, you can just see the growth of esports and where it's going to be in the future. No one really knows. I'm sure there's projections of, oh, this year we're going to get this, but I mean, it's definitely growing. From where it was
MLB
to where it's going to be, it's going
Says
to
it's
be.
gonna be bigger than like sports. It says it's gonna be bigger. There was a baseball player. It was a baseball player,
It was
right?
baseball. It was the Heat manager.
Oh no! You're thinking the Houston Rockets manager.
Yeah, Houston Rockets
Yeah.
manager.
He's now on. Yeah, he's now on the Major League Gaming board.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the
And
board for
he
Major League Gaming,
predicted
and he thinks it
super
could reach the level
popular.
of the NBA.
So
In
that, I
10
mean,
years or so.
that's a pretty big stage. If you're comparing esports to like NBA or
Something that-
NFL or something that everybody's heard of. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you
Broadcast on
go,
TV every day.
yeah, I'm pretty sure if you go on the streets and talk about esports and say, hey, do you know about esports? A lot of people aren't going to know what you're talking about. They're going to be like, what's esports? What is that? I don't want to watch it. But if it does get to the NBA, then yeah, you're going to watch it on, you're going to be watching ESPN. And it's going to be, in today's StarCraft news where you had Life Beat and like complete, or I don't even know. You're going to have someone
The drama would be so real. Let me
on
tell you.
on the esports circuit on ESPN, and it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get real meta here for a moment? Like real deep meta.
All right, let's do it.
I'm gonna veer way off topic here. Just go wide to the left.
Jeez.
For just a second.
Go for it, buddy.
I'm scared.
So Pro League, which is sweet because we can talk about we can segue this and talk about different leagues and things like we mentioned, like DreamHack and Pro League and stuff. But Connor, you said before we started this, we're talking about Flash using mech and TVZ. That's pretty generous.
Hold on. Before we gotta give them something to work with. People
Yeah,
that are watching
I don't
this.
think people know.
StarCraft 2. We're into
mech or-
StarCraft 2. The RTS game, real-time strategy. You make buildings and you make units of those buildings. You control those units. That's an RTS. If you've ever played, what's a popular Ages of Empires?
Age of Empires.
RTS.
Total War.
Civilization is a turn-based strategy game, not real-time, but turn-based.
Oh, Connor lost your video.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyway.
There we go.
Yeah, and then there are 3 races in StarCraft 2: Terran, Zerg, Protoss, all of which are incredibly different, have like no similarities whatsoever, and so
Terran
it's
Imba.
like chess, but you're both moving as quickly as possible, and there's 3 different colored pieces, and they all play completely differently. So when I say something like TVZ, I mean Terran versus Zerg. So Flash and TVZ did not quite go mech. What he did.
It was Banshee harass into Hellbats, wasn't it?
It was standard Reaper into Hellion, into Banshee, into Mass Marine Marauder Medevac, into add Hellbats, into add Thor. And so his final army, there was like no AoE in this ever, and his control was amazing, of course. So he had Marine Marauder Medevac, Hellbat, Thor, and there was a point where who was he playing? Like Bjorn, I want to say.
It was
Was it Solar? I don't know. Anywho, yeah, it was Solar.
Solar, yeah.
Solar had like mass amounts of Banelinks, and he caught Flash completely off guard with it. And Flash managed to back up through this choke point, and he left the Thor in the rear, so it would soak up all the Baneling damage. And he got so the Banelings all ran into this Thor in the choke point, and then the Zerglings came up, and he came with a medevac, lifted the Thor, brought it back, and there were Hellbats up front. And they just it was so beautiful. Left, he's just out as soon as that.
That's like that Scarlet versus Bomber game.
Dude,
Those
I've watched that
banelings
so many
just
times.
So I
leaves.
Did you guys watch that
so
live?
I found
Yeah,
the I found the
yeah.
article. So going back, I think we can talk about StarCraft a whole we can talk a whole days and days and days
Yeah.
about StarCraft.
Oh yeah.
So coming back to the esports, I found that article, or I found a article about the an article. Thank you for my grammar correction. About the Houston's Rockets general manager. It's Daryl Morey, and he's joined the MLG board. And he said here in a quote, "It's already extraordinarily mainstream, especially if you expand the definition of esports to include gaming networks like Game Center, Origin, and Steam." So there's also other things that we could probably talk about with Steam and everything. And he added that professional cyber athletes side of esports is narrower, but there's room for growth. The growing prevalence of devices like smartphones and smart TVs opens up a new commercial of opportunities for gaming. So he really believes, the general manager of the NBA team, Houston Rockets, believes that this is going to be a big thing. Sorry, I kind of cut off your StarCraft talk,
No, you're good. We need
but
to
Go off of that.
Well, the
I remember.
thing. Oh.
No, you go ahead.
Well, the thing is, gaming itself, not competitive, but gaming itself is really mainstream. The only problem is people don't take it seriously. It's more of like a casual, laid back. Oh, after work, I'm gonna go play a couple rounds of whatever this game is.
The, I think he even mentioned in that article, in the interview, I remember seeing it, and he said something about like how in the future, if the kid, it's gonna come down to the point where it's like, oh, do you want to go watch a baseball game, or do you want to watch, your MLG tournament, where it's like you can watch the MLG tournament for free in your room. Like you sit down in your room, and like the kid's gonna want to choose that. And like starting with the generation that mostly decides to say, screw the baseball game, I'm gonna watch MLG, is gonna be when it like really starts to take off. Yeah, it's like if you think about it, like you have to pay this money, you have to get gas, you have to park, like all this to go see a baseball game, where you can get that same sort of like we get that same sort of thrill from a COD tournament, where like we're rooting for our favorite players, there's like exciting moments and stuff.
And there's also that thing like going to.
thing
Oh, okay,
ever-
talk about.
Sorry, my favorite thing ever.
No.
Brendan has gone with me. Is like when we road tripped to
Oh,
Dallas
yeah.
last year. I went twice and went to.
That was
Major League
fantastic.
Dallas. Being there, I mean, was incredible, and it was awesome. And here's one thing that I have come to realize.
Lost your video, Coley.
What?
I lost your video.
You want to see your sexy face?
I'm gonna keep talking.
Come back, Chloe.
There you go. You're back. Sorry to interrupt.
One thing that I realized when I was kind of at the K-State bowl game where we freaking throttled Michigan,
Woo.
Yes.
was that honestly, if you were at a sporting game live,
Sporting
Sports in
event.
general, or Sporting Kansas City,
A sporting event.
if you were at a sporting event live, you miss a lot. You miss a lot of what is happening in that game because you don't have the commentary of like the casters or the announcers, the commentators that you have on TV. Like I missed a lot of things that happened in the game that people later on mentioned to me, like, "Oh, did you see this guy was doing this on the sidelines?" And stuff. No, I missed it, but I clapped and did the Wabash with the band. But if you go to a Major League Gaming tournament, you hear the casting, so you get the live atmosphere, and you don't miss anything. Like you were completely in tune with what's happening. And
Well, they
so,
make
like,
sure of
honestly,
that too, because there's like 3 different screens. You got each player's views, and
yeah, you can see the players' perspectives and then the main screen for StarCraft at least. And so that's, I mean, it's cool. So I honestly think that competitive gaming tournaments, as live events, have more potential to them than do something like the NFL and things like that. I would say one thing that maybe could be a little bit of an issue is crowd involvement. I mean, that's a big part of sports, and I think that's like a really valuable part of sports. And it's a little bit weird in professional gaming because you saw at the League of Legends World Championship, they didn't put the players in soundproof booths. That was a horrible mistake because there was a moment where Team Solo Mid, who was it? Who's their AD carry?
I have no idea.
Oh, not their AD carry. Whoever. It was Reginald. Reginald was he was gonna just face check into a bush. He was gonna walk into a bush, and it turned out that the entire enemy team was waiting for him in that bush. And the whole crowd, TSM is the most popular team in the world, they scream and like basically tell him to stop.
Oh, okay. And then he backed out, right?
No, but he said he walked into it anyway.
Oh,
Because he was
okay.
going to walk into it. So that was, I mean, that was good of him to do that. But he's like, but I knew. He's like, you know, as soon as they screamed, he's like, I knew what was happening.
So they need to be like isolated so that the crowd
Right,
can't
so
hear
they
them.
need
Well, usually
Talk.
it is.
Yeah, they.
Is it
legitimately
usually? Okay.
are. So I don't know if League of I mean, Riot wanted the crowd to be more involved and it to be a little more personal, but that leads to some problems. So I don't exactly know how to work around that. So it's got some potential, like with the you don't miss anything, but there's also the level of like crowd involvement, which to me is a little bit weird. And then you have people like Parasite, who's now on Optic, who tell the fans, "You're not even playing." Openly insults the crowd.
Yeah.
There's that.
I think Parasite gets a lot of crap for that one tournament, but like they all formally apologize. Even Killa is like, who was by far the worst at that one tournament. He was the freaking choo-choo train. But I mean, they've all formally apologized, and they were like, we did get a lot out of hand and stuff like that. But
A little.
And that's all. That's even the same in like NFL and stuff. If someone does a play and then they do an unsportsmanlike conduct and people don't like it and they like
That's
verbalize
the
that and then they
difference.
say,
There is a tangible penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct.
yeah,
15 yards. Lost
15 yards.
That is the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. I was at the MLG Dallas that Brendan went with us to. Call of Duty was at that one. VVV were screaming their heads off. Eventually, after an entire weekend of this, and then like openly insulting. This is where the difference comes in. Is the Call of Duty players call it hype, which is ridiculous. But they openly insult individuals on the other team. And after an entire weekend of personally attacking people, the referee gives them a technical. First of all, no one knew there was a referee. Second of all, a technical. And Fwiz, who's like the world's most famous Call of Duty caster, says, what does that mean? What happens when this team gets technical? What does that do? Nobody knew. Have any effect on the match.
So do you think there should be rules like saying if there's two teams and one team like that is just bagging on another one and just giving them crap?
Yeah.
Should there be a rule and saying like, hey, stop doing that, or we're gonna dock you if it's like to 150 points, we're gonna dock you 10 points.
I think so, and I think like there's pro players always like it's just getting hyped. It's just getting hyped. Every sport.
Well, there's hype, and then there's
hype, and then there's
abusing the other team.
Yeah. And all Duty players like to do is be douchebags. So if you are screaming your lungs out, let's go, come on, that's cool. Like, that's hype. If you are saying, JCap, you effing suck and we dropped you because you're terrible, that's not okay, Scumpy.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up. The big thing is, like, the thing is, it would be one thing if that, like, caused, like, there are some tensions and there's hurtful things within the community, but at the same time, like, most of the people, like, they do that, but, like, they're still friends. Like, they're still, like, they get at to after and they're like, like, well,
I don't think that matters at all.
They were talking about it in the lobby today. They said, like, the only people that, like, are actually, like intentions right now, it's Nadeshot and Scumpy and JCap and Scumpy, and those are like legitimately the only, like, besides Clayster's whole thing, like, bad blood, like Optic and Haggy has verbally attacked Optic Gaming on stage, like said like you're awful, what the heck are you doing, like and they're like no, like we know what that is, like we know it's just like to try and get ourselves pumped up and stuff like that.
I don't care, like I don't think it matters, like that's cool if the pros are okay with it. It's bad for the industry. I think it's like really mature.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Don't see someone yelling, "Look at my bank account! Look at my bank account!" Or "What are you doing, Rambo? You are terrible. Your
you are
team
lost.
Is terrible. You are lost."
And I mean, you're gonna lose viewership.
Like,
well, they got dropped from that.
They got dropped by
Epsilon. Or Epsilon, yeah. They just that next day they're gone.
Yeah. So and I was like, yeah. Good for
that
you.
was by far the worst that had ever happened. It's usually not that bad. It's usually like I'm better than you. It's not so much like attacking them, but it's saying like I am better than you.
Okay.
I still think it needs to be aligned with penalties because like it gets ridiculous.
Once you
I
start
mean, like
talking-
in every sport too. Like in every sport, there's smack talk, and you're gonna talk, and you're gonna try to get an edge, like a mental edge on everybody. But if you're outright just screaming at someone on stage, like as you're playing or before or after you play, and saying like you're just terrible and you should stop playing, put down the controller, I have a bigger bank account than you, and all this stuff. Like there should be a foul. There should be a penalty.
Airpulse does not make more money than anyone on Envious. First of all, okay. So personal attacks are obviously, I think, a line that has to be drawn. But there are still, you look at football, there is excessive celebration. It does not have to be an attack on the other players. It is just excessive. Like there's a point where it's like, okay, calm the hell down, man.
Yeah.
My mom was watching the Iowa State basketball game today, and a guy got a technical for hanging on the rim too long for basketball.
That was foul.
It happens in other sports. I don't know why Call of Duty players are just like, it's just hype, bro. I'm just getting the hype.
The thing why
you're making everybody look bad.
It's harder, it's easier in COD because you're sitting down, you're stationary, you're sitting next to someone, and there's a 5-second respawn in most game types, or an infinite respawn, where you can, smack talk, like get to the other person. The fact that it's stationary, you have a direct line of sight, you're literally 3 feet away from them the entire time, and so it's like, it is a big factor. Like there are entire teams that just don't play well when they don't get hyped. Like it is very important. It makes people play better when they get that way, which makes it difficult. Because if you stop now, there's teams that are still gonna do it. Like it's still gonna happen, even if it just turns to the point where they're just screaming. And a lot of the COD community likes it. Is the thing. Like the vast majority of the people.
I don't think the community should determine this. I think
exactly.
I think this needs to be an industry. Like this needs to be like, okay, look, we are probably shooting ourselves in the foot by having everyone who represents our scene look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, this was by far the worst it's ever been, and I agree. So maybe not. Let's not look at the Killa situation. I was gonna say you can't tell me you Killa in that match against India. Needs to be like, yeah, I want to pay that guy. I want to give him my money to represent my company. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
the BMLG Dallas we went to, VVV the whole weekend was terrible. Was absolutely terrible. Screaming at everybody, being tools. Clayster from Unite got way out of hand sometimes. Clayster from Unite. Act, of course, got way out of hand of naturally. It's just like there needs to be a line, and I think penalties just need to start being enforced.
Yeah, and so that's another thing when you're going on, and there's these different teams, and it brings a bad image to that team if you have this guy and he's screaming and you just I don't like that guy, and I'm not gonna like that team. It's like any other sports team. If there's some guy and he doesn't do something right, it looks bad on that team that he's on, and it looks bad with the whole community, and it looks bad with the whole sport. It looks bad on eSport. They're thinking, oh, these stupid kids are just sitting down playing video games like they would do, and then they just yell. Yeah, that's what it looks like. They're just yelling profanities.
Teenagers who don't want to get jobs, so they play video games.
Yeah.
The hardest part is what is that penalty you could do? Like for Call of Duty, where it's the problem.
I think
what
that
is that penalty
on
do?
And I think this is where you bring in kind of a level system, not like football, more like football, more like soccer, right?
Football.
Yellow card, red card, that kind of thing. Okay,
yeah.
You got a warning. Okay, you're done effed up. You are starting down 0-1 in S&D, and that will shut people the hell up. After how many round 11? After how many round 11s there were?
Oh my gosh.
You do not want to sacrifice.
Okay. So that's something that they should probably do if there's an S&D match and there's someone smack talking. You're gonna lose, or the other team's gonna gain a round, and that will
10 seconds in domination, 1 cap and blitz, anything like that.
And I mean, seconds make games. We've seen games where it came down to 1 point.
It came down to 0.2 seconds in search and destroy.
0.2 seconds when you're defusing the bomb. It comes down to these seconds.
I have to urinate so fiercely.
Well, hold on, Coley, come back here. Coley. So we only got really 2 minutes left, so we might as well just wrap it up anyway. So sit on back down here. So got 2 minutes left. Let's just kind of end with a question. Let's have a closing question. I want everybody to answer and give a pretty good answer. So here's my question. where do you think esports is going to be in, let's say, 10 years? Where do you think it's going to be?
2024.
In 2024,
Just round
so
it. Just
so
25.
25. So 2025, where is esports going to be on the global scale and even on the scale of North America? Where do you think it's going to be at?
I think it'll be a top 50 research institute in the country. Oh no, sorry, that's K-State.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
I always get those two confused.
Let's see.
So who wants to start? Connor, let's have you start.
Connor does.
Okay. It's
All
tough, but to like what I want and what I can see. Like if you take what has happened in the last 10 years and paste it in the next 10 years, like that's a pretty big deal. That means you're getting at the League of Legends World Champions, you're getting 64 million viewers. Like that's a good chunk of.
That
like,
is a lot of
United
viewers.
States and, like,
That's a third.
But like, I think it's going to go like even exponential because it's getting much. It's not just like copy paste,
Right,
like
it's
steadily.
not like
It's like
steady
yeah,
line,
blowing
Mhm.
up.
massive.
Yeah, and so like, I think once it gets to the point, if it gets on TV at any point, that's gonna be the moment when like you realize that it's like I mean it is
That's
in
gonna be the
Korea,
moment.
but like that
think
I don't think
maybe-
it'll be in the next 25 years, but
Cable's
Here's the-
kind of
Okay.
dying. Like, cable's kind of dying in the States. I mean, not dying, but it's like with things like Netflix. Like, who here pays for cable out of the four of us?
My
my
parents.
parents do.
Yeah, parents.
I pay $8 a month for Netflix.
So-
That's what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Coley,
Watch TV.
same question. Where do you think esports is going to be in 2025?
I mean, it's. I mean, like Connor said, it's impossible to say for sure. I think Day9 makes a good point about this. I think it's once there's like some kind of grammar and vocabulary established, where like people just know esports. Like, I mean, we all have a little bit of understanding at least of the rules of football.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm the only one here who's played football. Like, I mean,
Hey.
I only played.
Connor played
middle.
football.
I play the other football. I played the football.
Yeah,
I played both
but we all
football.
have some kind of baseline understanding of how football works.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of the culture. I think by the year 2025, esports is going to be approaching that level of just kind of ingrained in society. Like people will know about things.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many different titles, but and I think one thing that is going to be a big sign that like, man, this is getting there is like Dana talks about this as well is high school leagues. When we see it enter in to multiple levels, and it's not just like, okay, you're either a pro or you're not in this at all.
Yeah.
Excuse me, or you're an amateur, like, and that's it. When we see that kind of go away, and you're a pro or you're working your way there, and we kind of see a process on how to get there, like a clearly defined process, I think that is going to be a really big step for it.
And that could be another thing that we'll talk about probably in another
And I think
episode.
it'll be
Kind of the
something
different
more akin to
levels.
the NBA, where like, you know, you only have to go to college for a year before you can go to the NBA. Where like
Yeah.
football, it's not like that. I
Yeah.
get it, but
Okay, Brendan, what do you think esports is going to be like in 2025?
Oh, geez. I don't know if it's going to be on television because they've specifically said that they want to stick to like an internet base because
at
everyone's
least
got
without
smartphones. I
How is
mean,
it
you can
not-
just get on your phone, watch a whole match whenever you want to, really. I mean, YouTube, there's all the VODs and all that
I mean,
stuff.
I watch the Optic grind every day from work.
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
What grind? What grind?
But,
As Brandon hides his shirt in shame.
I don't care. I'm fine with it. But yeah, the thing is, there's not really like, because sports have their own arenas. I don't know if esports is ever going to get their own like.
Happening.
quick
Well,
interjection.
Happening.
Well, isn't
I
it
posted an
Populous?
article about
Populous?
Populous.
Yeah,
I read
Populous
it,
is
yeah.
trying to build arenas for it, but that'll help it
So-
immensely if people can. If there's
How about
arenas in each.
Oh,
I don't know if they could do each state. That'd be quite a. Big.
I mean, there aren't football stadiums or like an NFL stadium in every state, you know. So.
Well, yeah. But they're at
So,
least
yeah, I
in
get
pretty close proximity, because right now MLG just travels around like the most polar opposite places in the United States.
And we're sitting here in Kansas.
So-
like, come on.
Yeah.
So okay, so you don't think esports is going to be on the television level in 2025? You think it's going to stay
Well,
solely in streaming, kind of
I
from
think
your?
streaming might pass television, like
That's
'cause like I
that's
said,
what I was
everyone
getting at.
has
Is like
something.
the level more than like the actual like
Okay.
television. I mean like
Okay.
the level of television.
Okay, the level. Okay. All right. Well, I feel like this was a great discussion. We got so much, like, we talked about everything. We covered
My
We talked about
bladder. Can we talk
everything.
about my bladder?
Well, okay.
Guys,
Okay, so we're
talked
gonna
about
end
me.
this real quick because Coley has to go to the bathroom. So, well, if anybody's watching right now off of my Twitch stream, thank you.
Viewers.
We had 7 viewers. That is
7
amazing.
That's
viewers?
not me.
Holy
I'm not-
crap.
That's
But
amazing.
we have
No,
All
I'm
right.
not watching.
And this
I'm
is
not
our.
watching. So
Oh, snap.
Oh snap! So this is our very first video blog. I guess we're gonna call it a vlog, and it's gonna be
I'll
we're
be
gonna
gone
do this every week. Hopefully, we're gonna try to do this every
That's the
week.
plan.
momentarily.
And well, thank you viewers for watching. We're gonna try to do this every week. Every week we might have a new topic. We might just go off on tangents.
Tangents would just be
We gotta
cool.
have
feel
some
like
videos of us playing video games too.
Yeah, that's what I want to kind of do. We're gonna get with us before Coley's gone. So we're gonna get in and we're gonna have like us playing games, and then if something happens, we'll pause it and be like, "Whoa, that was cool. Let's talk about
We
that."
can
And
try
then
to
we
like
can talk about it,
analyze what we're doing.
and we can analyze it, and we can
I don't analyze. I
tell
just
you
do.
about it. So, first episode of Ramen Budget Gaming. I felt like
Get
it
us
went
some
pretty
ramen.
well, so I thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you'll see us next week. We will hopefully schedule out a time. Not Connor because he's going on a cruise, but that's okay. We'll get someone else. We'll have a special guest on our second episode. Oh man.
Oh,
So, well, I thank you guys for doing this with me. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're gonna talk about some esports games.
we're gonna learn about.
Get
games,
excited.
man.
We're gonna
Yeah, we
learn.
are. I need to get
I'm gonna
more
tell you.
knowledgeable.
I'm gonna do all about speedrunning. That's gonna. I'm
All
gonna get
right.
you guys.
We're gonna
informed,
have
Don't worry.
a whole thing about
BGDQ,
speedrunning.
we're gonna have the whole shebang.
All right.
Man.
Well,
All
I
right.
thank you guys for watching, and hopefully next time you can watch. Disregard the streaming thing I have up. I'm stopping it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you.